Hi guys, today we will talk about another small part of the chapter infanticide. This part is the child abuse. Child abuse is any type of ill-mannered behavior or abuse which may be physical, emotional or sexual in nature to a child that affects his well-being in any way is defined as child abuse. So this will encompass any type of behavior that hampers a child's normal growth and development. So if a parent scolds a child in such a way repeatedly that he becomes depressed and is less motivated towards study or anything. So this repeated scolding by the parent itself is hampering the normal growth and development of the child. So this will become a type of abuse. That's why in many of the Western countries, the parents are prohibited from physically disciplining their children, which is not the practice in India. We all have been growing up since our childhood by hearing scoldings from our parents and receiving beatings from them. So we are habituated with it. But in the modern day view, and also from the view of the child psychologists, this type of upbringing is not healthy. This hampers the child's normal growth and development, and this rough discipline by a parent also comes under child abuse. Definition of child abuse: they classify the child abusive behavior into five categories. There are type of categories are: number one, it can be a physical ill treatment. Number two, can be a emotional ill treatment. Physical ill treatment means beating of the child or physical trauma or injury. Emotional ill treatment means repeated scolding, belittle the child, insult him, make him demotivated, or made him feel small about himself. That is emotional ill treatment. Sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse is a matter of grave concern to us everybody. Neglect or negligent treatment, that is, you have multiple children to a family, or even a one children, but the parents, they are so engrossed with their own life, maybe their job, maybe their career, or in some cases in their own worlds, they are drug addicts or alcoholics, that they neglect their child. They don't even have a clue whether he has been fed or he has been bathed, or where he is right now or what he is doing. They are so negligent. So this type of negligent treatment and or commercial or any type of exploitation. Commercial exploitation includes child pornography, child trafficking, child slavery, put the children into work, into doing physically strenuous work or even domestic chores. It all comes under this umbrella definition of child abuse that results in actual or potential harm of the child's health, survival, development, or dignity. So, child abuse constitutes all forms of physical or emotional ill treatment, sexual abuse, neglect or negligent treatment, or commercial or any other form of exploitation that results in actual or potential harm to the child's health, survival, development, dignity. So there are five types of abuse: physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, and commercial or any other type of exploitation that leads to bad effect or harm to the child in four dimensions: health, survival, development, or dignity. That's a small concise definition that any behavior directed towards a child that endangers or impairs a child's physical or emotional health and development. So this definition also works fine. Here it is umbrella type that any behavior directed toward the child, any type of behavior can be of any nature, and it affects the child either physically or emotionally, then that will be a child abuse. Child abuse. So why we're talking about child abuse? Because in India, according to 2018 data of the National Crime Record Bureau, daily 109 children are specifically sexually abused in India. 109 children per day is a staggering figure. That means that is four children, at least more than four rather, four children per hour. So by that time we will finish today's lecture, there will be more than four children will be sexually abused in different parts of our country. If you take a minute to sink in that statistics into your mind, you will be flabbergasted. So that's how reverse the problem of child abuse is, and that's alone only the sexual abuse. Sexually, more than that, there are many children who are employed in different type of work, in factories, in roadside eateries, in hotels, restaurants, shops, where they are not provided that type of environment he deserves. So they are given less amount of food, they are made to put in more hours of work, they work more than 12 hours per day. That itself is a type of slavery and child abuse by any parameters. So even sexual abuse is that much more, 109 children per day, and around the gross physical abuse and emotional, there's no limit of that figure. It will be in thousands. And from the 2008 to 2018, in these 10 years alone, the figure jumped six times. The recorded figure, and the unrecorded figure is 10 times more. So it's just the tip of the iceberg. Abuse. The abuse are mainly four types: physical, sexual, emotional, and neglect. So physical, emotional, I'm sorry, the physical, sexual, and neglect are one third of the pie, and emotional is the remnant. So if sexual abuse is 30% and child sexual abuse cases are 109 per day, so the total figure is more than 1,000 children per day. Even can be more than that. So that's how the figure stands as of now. Physical abuse. Physical abuse means in a child is, who is a child first? Child is any human less than 18 years of age. So any child, if he is subjected to a non-accidental injury by his parent or caretaker. This caretaker term is important. Caretaker means any relative with whom he is staying at the moment, or in the hostel where he is staying, the hostel superintendent or any other staff will be his caregiver, or any place where he is employed, his employer is his caretaker. So any type of non-accidental injury, non-accidental means they are premeditated, they are homicidal. So non-accidental injury to a child. Those injuries can be beating, shaking, burns, human bites, strangulation, immersion in scalding water that results to any abrasion, bruise, laceration, fracture, scar, etc. So you can, uh, if you recall that we all have come across news in the newspaper that in different times there have been stories that sorry, a female domestic help who is in her teens is physically abused by her employer, or the burning water is thrown on her, or the couple has gone to holiday for a week and the domestic help was alone in the flat for that week without any food and water. So there are innumerable stories of physical abuse, of child abuse in the public domain that you can search. Physical abuse is battered baby syndrome. Battered baby syndrome is when a child is subjected to repeated physical abuse a number of times by his or her parent or caretaker. So this is a term which is coined to characterize the clinical manifestation of serious physical abuse. This applied to a children who show repeated injury to them, and due to this repeated injury on the same child, there will be injuries of different age. That means there may be a healed injury, there will be an old injury, and there will be a recent injury. That means if in your hospital or clinic a child comes with a bruise or a fracture, then if you ask how did you get that, the child will invariably respond that maybe, or the parents will tell you that he fell down the stairs, or he suffered the injury while playing football or something like that, or he jumped from a bed and fell on the floor. So that type of story is always given. So if you feel that the injury you are seeing is not, this does not match with the story you are given, then if that's your first pointer that this may be a case of child abuse. Number two, the confirmatory sign is mm, multiple injuries of different ages. Okay, no child is that unlucky that he falls every month. So if there are multiple fractures in unlikely areas, that is reef fractures, if a child is too much naughty that he falls every now and then the most injuries are supposed to be concentrated in the limbs, mostly in the hands and legs. But if there are fractures in unlikely areas and of different age, that means one injury is 6 months old, another injury is 1 month old, then that's a sign that this is a case of battered baby syndrome. That means there are these injuries which are repeated in occurrence. So that is pure battered baby syndrome. Form is shaken baby syndrome. Shaken baby syndrome is mainly seen in case of infant. The parents are usually violent rage. They shake the infant so hard that the infant suffers some injuries, and that injury almost always are of mainly three types. One is a intracranial hemorrhage, retinal hemorrhage, and chip fracture of the extremities. If these three type of injuries are always seen in a shaken baby syndrome. Okay. Human bites are also seen if in any type of human bite done by an adult on a child is strongly suggestive of an abuse. Uh, they may be overlooked if they are on those areas which are covered by clothing, and if they're around some private parts that will include sexual abuse. There are different type of bruises that are seen on abused children: by slapping, by whipping, by beating with a belt, by beating with a stick. So these are the different type of bruises which are seen in abused children. Burns can be of flame burn and scald burn. This is a burn produced by cigarette burn, and this is also cigarette burn. These are different type of cigarette burns are always seen, and Flash burn will be there, that is hot water is splashed on the child, or a child's hand is dipped into a hot water. That will be immersion type of scald and splash type of scald. Sorry again. Flexion burns, that means burns are produced on the flexural areas, that is your groins, your elbows, so that they are usually hidden. Suspicious fracture, as I said in the battered baby syndrome, look at this chest X-ray very carefully. This this is a recent or fresh rib fracture. You can see that the rib is fractured. And here, this you see, these three ribs, they are showing callus formation. This is a callus, this is a callus. Callus formation means these are old fractures. So there is old fracture on one side and fresh fracture on another side. That too of a rib. All are rib fractures. Here the XA plate is held in the other way. The heart is pointing towards right. So actually heart is going that way. So that's so left side. So there are old refractors on left side, fresh refractors on right side. That is suspicious. And this type of spiral fractures occur due to twisting of the limb. Okay. So these are indicative of a battered baby syndrome. Falls usually falls cause minor injury. The child who fall during play, they usually do not warrant any clinical attention. If a child is reported to have a routine fall but the injury is more severe, then that will indicate battered baby syndrome or child abuse. Here as you see the skull fracture. Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome does not fall in child abuse. So why I am discussing this? Because there's another syndrome which is called Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Munchausen syndrome by proxy falls under child abuse. So before going into that, let's spend one moment. What is Munchausen syndrome? Munchausen syndrome is where the person himself fakes an injury or an illness or an to date admission into hospital so that he can get some kind of benefit. That is, benefit is what? Treatment or sympathy from the medical personnel, or a hot young doctor on whom the lady has a crush, or can be gaining some financial reimbursement in lieu of the treatment he is receiving at the hospital. So he intentionally develops some illness. How? First, they do in-depth research into the illness, then they ingest some toxic substance or to develop similar type of symptoms. This is different from the hypochondriasis. Hypochondriasis is a type of psychiatric illness where the person genuinely believes that he has a serious illness. No doctor is able to treat him, diagnose him properly, and he is gonna die from. So that is a type of obsession. But Munchausen syndrome is a premeditated malingering. Okay. The risk factors are usually childhood trauma, parental neglect, dependent personality disorder, etc. That is a Munchausen syndrome. The person himself feigns an illness or injury to get treatment for some ulterior motive. What is Munchausen syndrome by proxy? Munchausen syndrome by proxy is the caregiver fabricates or exaggerates or induces a health problem of the child she is taking care of. Here the abusers are 90% cases female, most likely the mother or caregiver or a female guardian, and she causes the child to fall ill so that she can gain a sympathy from his relatives and neighbors, and then she devotes herself totally into taking care of the baby so that she also get praise from everyone by saying, look, she is doing so much for her child. So that is Munchausen syndrome by proxy. If anyone has the time, you can see an web series called Sharp Objects. Sharp Objects is an HBO original series. It is shown in Hotstar Premium that shows classically Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Here the lady has two daughters. The elder daughter is a detective. She comes back after now she has three daughters. The one daughter, she has died of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The eldest daughter, she was admitted into psychiatric asylum due to he was given repeated some pills by her mother that made her fall ill. And the last daughter, she was also on the verge of dying when she was rescued. And she always, and the mother, she always make her daughter fall ill, then she would take care of them in such a way that everyone would go gaga over her. So that is Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Now our next small topic, what is female feticide? Female feticide is inducing abortion after determining that the lady is pregnant with a female child. So you do a prenatal sex determination test and you find out that the mother is pregnant with a female child, then you go for an abortion. That is female feticide. Sorry, I'm having a terrible. What is female fetus? How it is done? By ultrasonography. It is determined that it's a male or female, and after that, the abortion is in. Why it is done? Because in India, most families they still have an unhealthy obsession for having a son, and which is not very good per se, which is not, and fear of dowry by many poor families. They have feel if they have one daughter already, then they feel that having another daughter to arrange for the dowry of her marriage in future is gonna be impossible. So let's go for abortion. Girls are considered as financial obligation. The same point, uh, and to our utter shame, this is all a doctor is also part of the problem because he is doing the sex determination, he is doing the abortion. So doctor who is doing this for the money, they are also guilty. So if we go on with this practice, what we will do? There will be a decrease in the female population, and women are always exploited and abused in our country in different ways. They are trafficked, they are kidnapped, they are bought and sold for marriage. So on the top of that, this type problem of female feticide is a great. Um, This is a bar chart showing the sex ratio of India. That is, number of girls born for every 1,000 boys. In 1961, it was 975. In 211, is 914. So, this is the drastic decrease of the sex ratio, and female suicide is one of the reasons for that. So the legal initiatives are: number one is the PCPNDT Act, Preconception, Prenatal Diagnostic Test Act. Another one is the MTP Act and Dowry Prevention Act. So what is PCPNDT Act? PCPNDT Act came into force 96. It made that any type of determination, any type of prenatal diagnostic techniques for determination of sex of the offspring is illegal, and every center, every diagnostic center has to put up this disclosure. Everywhere you have gone for an ultrasound, you will see this writing that disclosure of sex is prohibited under law, so it is not done here. This was amended in 2003. So there are 21,600 centers all over India which are registered under this act to carry out some prenatal diagnostic procedure. What they can do is also stipulated in that. Doing anything other than that is punishable. But still, it is going on everywhere. Doctors are doing that, and after doing the radiologist, after doing USG of the pregnant mother, they they communicate the result whether it's a boy or girl to a cryptic way. In some centers, it is the custom that if the after doing the test, if the radiologist says the mother কাল থেকে রোজ একটা করে কলা খাবেন, that means it's a boy. কাল থেকে রোজ একটা করে লেবু খাবেন, that it's a girl. So, or he folds the paper and hands it to the husband. Folding means it's a boy, and he does not fold the prescription and hands it over, means it's a girl. So this type of cryptic communication goes on between the radiologist and the patient party, and still sex determination is going on in this way. MTP Act we have all gone through in our last lecture. This table shows how phenomenal was the effect of MTP. In 1972, already 24,000 MTPs was registered. In 1975, in 3 years, the figure jumped almost 10 times. After that, it is going on increasing. Now in 2010, 10 years earlier from today, 26 lakh MTP was done all over the country. This is the phenomenal effect of MTP. Dowry Prevention Act. Dowry Prevention Act makes one making the request for a dowry, receiving dowry, or accepting dowry is a crime. So if you demand for dowry, it's a crime. If you give dowry, that's also, and if you accept it, it's a crime. However, the punishment is up only 6 months of imprisonment. The fine is a joke, but I think it's changed nowadays. So thank you. It was a short topic, child abuse, but a grave one, and mostly it comes as a short note, or it is often asked in the Viva what is a battered baby syndrome, shaken baby syndrome, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, what is PCPNDT Act, what are the different types of child abuse. These are the questions which are usually asked in the Viva. So go through it, and if you have any problem or any queries, you can drop me a mail in the email ID which I have given in my previous lectures. So thank you for your patient hearing. Have a good day.